let's bring our whole selves to work, right? Really, why wouldn't you want to bring your whole self everywhere you go and in anything that you do? But what does it even mean, right? The whole self. People talk about this all the time, but I think very few have an understanding of what I call the human operating system, right? All the different aspects that you can bring to any situation, and that by default you are actually bringing to any situation, whether you consciously do it or not. Now, one of my favorite symbols of the human operating system is the Caduceus. It's a staff of Hermes, later the staff of Mercury, the messenger god, the one that is there to communicate between the spiritual and the material, right? Between the gods and the humans, right? That's actually messaging all the time, right? And it should already give you some indication. Oftentimes it's confused with the medical symbol, but the medical symbol is actually the staff of Aesculap, which looks a little different. It's also a snake, it's also a staff, but it's only one snake. So it's actually not the medical symbol. It's a symbol that represents your whole human operating system. And when you look at the staff, you have these two wings, right? And they also correspond to the wings of Maat, the Egyptian goddess of justice. Right, but that's a different story. But you have these two wings, right? And they represent your two brain halves, your right brain and your left brain. And of course, it's a simplification, but a very helpful one, right? We can think of our right brain as sort of the creative, open, where everything happens at the same time, right? And then we have our left brain, which is the linear, logical, structured brain, right? Yin and yang and the Tao, right? The feminine and the masculine aspects in each of us. Right, so these are archetypal things, have nothing to do with your biology. Right, so the masculine and the feminine, both brain halves are integrated, right, in these two wings of the staff of Caduceus. And then you see the staff itself. And the staff itself is a representation of your spine. Right, when you think about messaging, right, there's constantly electricity going from your brain down your spine all the way to your little toe. If you want to wiggle your little toe, an electrical signal goes down and says, wiggle your toe, and then you wiggle it. Or the other way around, of course, if you stub your toe on something, a little pain signal goes up your spine all the way to your brain. So there's electricity going up and down your spine at all times. And what happens when you have an electrical signal going through a conduit, or an electrical current going through a conduit, you'll have an electromagnetic field around it. Well, so in this case, you have two electromagnetic fields because you got electricity going up and down. And what happens when you have these two fields? They overlap, right? And they're going to create intersection points. And this is the two snakes, right, ringing around your spine up here, right? The electromagnetic forces around that, and also the intersection points, right? The different circuits that we have in our human operating system to create reality with. Right? We have these different circuits, right? Different aspects of our human operating system, which we perceive, process, and produce information. Right? There's a physical self, the body, there's the emotions, there's the mind, there's our relationships, right? Our agreement fields, there's our unique voice and unique expression, right? Our vision and capacity to see things, and ultimately our capacity to create here. Right? And so all seven are ultimately there creating reality at all times. But the problem is that things get stuck. Right? When you think of sort of a pachinko game, right, with this balls coming down and ultimately they want to go all the way down. But then they get stuck, right, because you might think you're not good enough, or you don't have the confidence or commitment to do something, or all kinds of thoughts are getting in the way, or you're feeling, anxiety and feeling unsafe, or you uncertainty, or your body is not in a very good position and hardened and, not flexible and pliable, and things get stuck there when your body's in survival mode. Right, so things want to come through you. Hermes and Mercury are, receiving signals from the gods they want to send through your system all the way into creation. But this is where we have to do that other motion of actually consciously working with our different circuits so that we can make them fluent and things can flow through us easily. Right, we get into this flow state, as some people say. Right, things can actually come through. Your creation can come through without getting stuck in things that are not aligned, right? Because when things are not aligned, all these different colors, when we mix them together, we get brown, not a good color, right? So you want to have clarity on your different circuits, consciously bring them to bear, and that's when we bring our whole self. So next time, if you think about doing something, engaging something, start with checking in with your whole circuitry, right? Your body, your emotions, your mind, your relationships, your expression, your voice, your vision, right? Bringing all of those into the game before you do anything, because then you're going to get much more creative results. right? Especially also bringing in both brain halves, not just one of them, but having both being and doing fully integrated into what you bring into the world. So more of your whole self, please.